Well, hey, welcome to this edition of Hardtack. I am Clint Allen, and we're still out in the mechanics workshop studio, redoing the old green screen studio, just for the people who are new here. This is advice from an old fart per se on after you get married. Now, I just recently did a video, very easy to follow, common sense items on what to do before you get married so you don't end up in divorce. This is going to be both if you didn't ever see the video and do it, and if you did do it. If you did do it, you're mostly in line. The whole concept of the last video, and I know you're here for this video, but the concept of the last video is whoever you're getting married to be in perfect alignment. So if you just ran out and thought there was a keen idea to throw a ring on the finger without doing what I previously discussed, let me help you out. First off, something that I didn't cover in the last video, if you are a man-child or a woman child, it's time to grow up. Period. You've just made a major decision in your life to go get married. It's time to stop the fun and the games. It's time to put on the big boy pants and the big girl skirt. You are in a different situation. The fun in games are different now, all right? So I wanted to get that off my chest. I should have covered that in the last video. Let me point this out first. Whether you're a guy or a girl, a man or a lady, however you want to define it. Well, let me define that first. Women, let's stop picking on this word shit. Meaning that when your man tells you something and then you have to point out that his vocabulary was incorrect, knock it off. Period. You bought the package, you should have known that. Leave it alone. Unless you plan on sitting down and having a discussion about him going to college and going through an English course, it is what it is. All right? Nothing is more annoying when somebody points out to you the proper word that you should have used. Knock it off. So anyways, let's get going here. Understand, men, that she got married to you. Okay? I'm going to say that again. She married you. She didn't marry your truck or your car. She didn't marry your duck hunting. She didn't marry your rock climbing. She did not marry your photo or commentaries or creative content crap. She married you. Now, if you would have done what I told you in the last video, we wouldn't have to be having this discussion. But we have to have this discussion because most of you didn't follow common sense of what I told in the last video. So she married you. Life has changed. No longer when you're done with work or your weekend is no longer you're done with work. It is no longer your weekend. It is both of your weekend. It is both of yours end of day of work. All right? That means you don't come home because for the last 5 years, you sit down and play video games and ignore each other. Those days are done. Especially if you have a child. Those days are definitely done. This is no longer about you. And it has nothing to do with your happiness. You made a decision to go and roll now with 2 people in the boat. That discussion, that situation's done. If you find yourself in a situation where you get this little bit of a poke from the other side, that is somebody screaming out to you that you're not listening to them. Ears got to go on all the time if you didn't follow what I previously discussed. The radar has got to be on all the time. And women, understand this. If there's one thing you pull out of this video to understand, women, talking to you, men are like goal seekers. They want to get married. Boom. That goal is done. They want to move on. You need to understand that. Whatever we do in our lives is a goal, and then we move on. We have accomplished it. The problem is, and that you need to understand, that we will maintain our vehicle better than we maintain our marriage, because we don't know any better. You have to understand that. It's not that we don't want to, it's just that we don't know how to, and we didn't realize we had to. Okay? Men, take that into account too. All right? Things have changed. Now, instead of maintaining your vehicle is your wife, your mate. You have to maintain it. You have to polish it. You have to go underneath the hood. Check, make sure everything is okay. So back to the quick stab thing. Somebody in the relationship takes a quick stab. First off, it's a bad way of discussing problems. If somebody in your relationship sends you a text, a long, lengthy text, you're in a really bad relationship, in a really bad state of affairs, all right? Because they don't feel they can talk to you. Which means before you got married and during your marriage, you've never actually talked, melded, got on the same keel. She's over here, you're over here now. It's going to end in divorce, guaranteed. If you're in the situation where you've been given a shot over the bow, whether it's a quick stab, a long text, whatever the case may be, it's time to put on the brakes, go to the other person. Even if the argument ensues, it's time for you to relax. This isn't about trying to defend yourself and place blame on the other person. That'll be divorce. It's time to lower the volume, no matter where you're at, and say, honey, I fucked up. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a drive. Pull over in the car, whatever the case may be. So you're driving down the road, you get the poke, and you're like, okay, I'm going to follow the old fart's advice. I pull off. And you know you're immediately going to get, what are you pulling off for? Honey, I want to discuss this with you. Low volume. Honey, I want to discuss this with you. Let's get this out of the way. Your goal, no matter if it's in the house, in the car, wherever the case it is to remove yourself from the bad aura. No, this isn't some kind of whacked out video. Remove yourself from that situation where that heat currently is, both of you, and discuss the problem. Honey, there's a problem. Just tell me straight up here, and let whoever it is, your husband, your wife, tell you. And you might have to pull it out of them. Well, I don't like because of this, that, and the other thing. Okay, I didn't understand. I ignored the fact that you told me about this. I just thought this or that. And, you know, this is something that's important to me. So when can I do that? Or, hey, I didn't know, now I know. Get back onto being on the same trail. Don't blame him or her. Once again, this isn't the football game to see who can get across the goal and piss each other off even more. Time to discuss the problem. Now, if you're in the situation where the screaming has already begun, it's time just to say, okay, honey, I fucked up, but for the moment, I'm just gonna go take a walk. Let shit cool down. That doesn't mean go to the bar. That doesn't mean go take some marijuana. Anyways, you know how I feel about that. Get off that shit. It has no place, no good in your life. No drugs, no alcohol. Period. It's bad. Get the hell out of there. Let the shit cool down. Now, when you come back, there's going to be tension. It is now your job to have that discussion at an adult rate. And once again, your goal is to remove both of you from that tension place. Hey, should we go get a burger? Let's go take a walk? Tell me what is going on here. And like I said, pull that out. You may be with somebody who's never actually had an adult fucking conversation before. You might need to go, okay, tell me more about this. It's time to go into sales mode. Tell me more about this. What is it that you disliked about that? What can I do to make you happier in our marriage? This is no longer about you. This is about we. So once again, and I keep on saying this, reverting back to the last video, because the last video is so important before you marry someone. It isn't some psychological expert sitting down. It's somebody who has experience with this, all right? Honesty. You're getting it straight from the source. The freshest water that you can get in Coors beer. Get it? Debt. Debt is a marriage killer. Period. Exclamation mark. Your goal in life and in marriage is to carry as low as possible, if any, debt whatsoever. Chances are you like your wrenches, you can wrench on a vehicle. That's you. If you didn't make sure that you were in alignment with all of your goals before you got married, chances are she wants to ride and drive. That's it. Hit the key, go. Change the oil, that's it. One of you or both of you are going to have debt in an automobile. That is the most dangerous place to be. This is time as an adult that you need to fiscally make sure that your income is safe. Instead of going out and buying the $800 a month car, the $1,000 a month car, you two, in alignment, need to go on the old computer and Google what is the best quality, longevity, highest resale value, and best value automobile that doesn't require a whole lot of work. They just run. And then find one below your means. So many people nowadays are having their car repossessed because they go in and they go, well, hell, I can afford that. It's gonna be a little tight, but I can afford it. Wrong. First time you have a problem with your income or something pops up, all of a sudden it's a problem. And don't forget about insurance, and don't forget about maintenance and all the bullshit that goes along with owning an automobile. Below your whole life, your whole marriage should be about living below your means. Meaning that there is never a financial situation that you cannot overcome. Well, I want a new Dodge Ram, and I'm going to get the TRX. I don't care if it's $90,000. I deserve it. No, you don't. That is just going to put you in the hole so far, not including the maintenance, not including the insurance, and you do not deserve it. There are a ton of used vehicles out there that you can get at an eighth, a quarter of the price that will make you just as happy. Debt is a marriage killer. Running up them credit cards, have to have the best of the best out in the driveway because they don't need any maintenance. Yeah, you don't know a whole hell of a lot if that's what you think. Gotta have, oh, honey, they just put up brand new apartment places across town and they're leasing now. And the sign said $850 a month for a 2-bedroom. So you go on over there and it's just like, well, it's only $850 a month for the first 3 months. After that, it goes up to $2,000. And you only bring home $3,500 between the both of you. Time to be the adult and think this through. Do you really need to live in a palace? Well, you only live once. All depends how stressful you want that once living to be. There's nothing wrong with living outside of a high-priced area and driving into where you need to go. Nothing wrong with that. Find something that is below your means. Period. No matter what it is. And if you two decide that you want a toaster oven, don't go and buy the $30 one. If you plan on doing 80% of your cooking in the toaster oven, check the reviews. Get a good quality one, something that is going to last 10 years, if not longer. Something that is repairable, that the model hasn't changed 20 times in the last 5 years. Make good quality decisions. There's a time for cheap, and then there's a time for the long investment. If you find a good quality car that's highly rated, that you can drive for 10 years, if you can find that toaster oven that has good reviews, has repairability, and that you can actually do it yourself, there's tons of stuff on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, of people showing you how to fix all kinds of stuff. Handle it. Live below your means and get quality right away. Don't buy this cheap thing, it breaks. Then you go, well, you know, I'll buy this middle thing, and it breaks. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to have that happen again, so I'm going to go out and get the best one right away. Well, now you've wasted all this money if you would have got the best one right to begin with. These are the things that you, in your marriage, need to think about, both of you. And at some point in time, you will retire. You can't forget about that. Because at the rate of inflation, what you are going to get on your Social Security ain't going to cover it. Period. If you two haphazardly got married and you tripped across this video, it's time now. The time has come, and you need to get in alignment. You need to have a discussion. And the discussion can't be because, well, I seen this video and it's like, honey, let's talk about this like right now. Anytime you want to have a discussion about what I am going to cover next, just don't rush in. Timing is critical. Timing is important here. If she's in the middle of doing something, or she has got this planned, or she is doing this, that, or the other thing, or is busy with that, this, or the other thing, that ain't the time. You frickin' live with her or him. You should know what the best time is. This right here cannot be focused with the other person on something else that they're working on, their goal, or whatever the case may be. Timing is important. If you're both sitting on the couch watching a TV program that is just because nothing important is going on, and it's really not important that you actually see the TV program, that is probably the time. If you're driving down the road and it is a really long drive to where you're going, instead of staring at the phone, that is probably the time to have this discussion. And the discussion that we want to have is, and you have already sat down yourself before this, and for several weeks have thought this through, and for several weeks have made some notes, and the discussion is going to be goals. You know, honey, we have never discussed this. And go over what your goals are. This is my goals in life. If you don't have any goals in life, you need to make some. You need to have goals as you go. You need to have direction. Imagine if we had no stop signs, no signal lights, no center strips in the road. Everything would be haphazardly all over the place. Right now, if you don't have goals, that is your life. And you drag somebody into it. It's for sure going to end up in a collision and an accident. Divorce. Honey, what are the goals? This is what I am picturing in our life. And at that point in time, you don't want to pull out of her because you just caught her on surprise that, holy shit, we're having a fucking adult conversation. Back to the sales again. You got to catch her in the right time, or him in the right time, and say, hey, you know, these are some of the goals that I would like to accomplish for us. My goals in life too. Would you want to think about that? And let's say 2 weeks from now, Sunday, let's take a walk on the beach and talk about this. Where are we going in life? give the other person time to think about this. This is a big decision going on. The whole concept of me telling you this is so you get in alignment. Once you're in alignment with goals, direction, now you can place it on a time factor. Where do we want to be at this stage of the game? What is it going to take for us to get to that stage of the game? How are we going to maintain this goal of this stage of the game? And onward and onward and onward. Life will go a hell of a lot better. And sometimes those goals don't happen because something else has happened, and then it's time to discuss, is that still our goal? And here's the new date that we want to achieve that by. Very important. So I hope you've learned something here, and until our next Hardtack.